There's land for $100 an acre in the US right now.
Wow.
And it's not a scam. Acreage so cheap it feels like you're accidentally committing a crime just by clicking buy now. From $0 lots handed out by small town governments to 20-acre tracts going for less than your last dental bill, this isn't a myth. This is real, and it's happening in America's weirdest, quietest corners. The kind of places where silence is louder than traffic and your nearest neighbor might be a rattlesnake or a goat named Carl. This video is your roadmap to the unbelievable. 10 towns where the land is so cheap, locals swear the secret won't last. Places where you can build your own home, start a homestead, or just finally scream into the void without a noise complaint. But spoiler alert, every slice of paradise comes with a plot twist. Maybe there's no water hookup. Maybe the town's main attraction is a haunted gas station. Or maybe, just maybe, it's perfect because nobody else wants it yet. You're not gonna hear about these spots from HGTV or Forbes. Why? Because they don't make sense. The prices feel illegal, the towns sound made up, and the rules, sometimes they're written in crayon, but to the people who live there, the artists, off-gridders, and screw it let's go dreamers, this is the loophole. The back door to land ownership without selling your soul or your kidney to real estate overlords. And we're not just talking dusty desert plots. Some of this land is ocean adjacent, forest wrapped, mountain kissed. You'll see zones where the stars look photoshopped, where there's no HOA to tell you your house color is emotionally disruptive, and where zoning boards are either non-existent or actively asleep. But stick around, because it gets weird. There's a town with one person and no roads, a free land deal that comes with rules stricter than marriage vows, and a patch of off-grid Missouri that practically encourages you to become a local cryptid. So here's the deal. If you're tired of overpriced cities, if you dream of owning something real, something raw, something yours, this list is your escape plan. Hit like so the algorithm thinks you're ready to disappear into the woods. And if you had to pick desert peace or forest weirdness, drop it in the comments. We're about to find out just how far you'd go for the deal of a lifetime. Let's kick it off with a sun-scorched patch of Arizona where the land is cheap. And so is your cell service, surprisingly. Tonopah, Arizona. Land so cheap it feels like a desert-themed prank, but nope. It's legit. Just an hour west of Phoenix, Tonopah sits like a mirage that never got the memo to fade. And here's the kicker. You can buy land here for $200 an acre. That's not a typo. That's the price of an acre where the sunsets look AI generated and the neighbors include cacti and silence. The parcels are weirdly perfect, flat, buildable, and zoned for whatever you dare. Want to park a shipping container and call it a house? Go ahead. Want to raise goats, install solar panels, and live off-grid like a YouTube homesteader? Totally doable. And yes, the cell service is shockingly solid for being this far out. Credit the nearby towers feeding Phoenix's sprawl. But here's the catch. And it's a big one. Water, or more accurately, the haunting lack of it. Tonopah sits in the middle of Arizona's ongoing water drama. The underground aquifers are being pumped faster than nature can refill them, and while that may not affect you right now, it's the looming elephant in the sand. Developers have already been denied new permits in the region due to future water scarcity. Translation: if you plan to drill a well, you might want to bring a priest with holy water, and a backup plan. And then there's the heat. This isn't just, oh, it's dry heat territory. This is bake your flip-flops on the porch heat. Summer temps routinely hit 115-degree accents. If you move here, your deodorant better have a loyalty program, but people do it anyway. Why? Freedom, affordability, and that undeniable desert magic that makes you feel like you're living on another planet, your own planet. A Redditor put it like this: Tonopah is where people go when they want to live like it's Fallout, but make it aesthetic. Picture this. You're standing on your acre, no neighbors in sight. The sun's going down, painting the sky in radioactive shades of orange and purple. There's a breeze. Hot, but peaceful. You hear nothing. No cars, no sirens, just the soft crunch of your own boots in the dirt. It's not for everyone, but for solid $200 an acre, it doesn't have to be. Just bring water. And sunscreen. Lots of sunscreen. Marquette, Kansas. Land for free, yes, $0. But it's not a handout. It's a dare. This tiny Midwestern town is offering up residential lots for nothing. Nada. If you're willing to build on them. It's part of a plan to stop rural decay in its tracks and bring in fresh blood. And let's be clear, this isn't scrubbling out in the boonies. Marquette looks like the kind of town you'd find in a Norman Rockwell painting. Brick storefronts, waving wheat, and American flags that don't feel performative. So what's the deal? Simple. Apply through the city's free land program, commit to building a home within a year, and live in it. They'll give you the lot. It's not huge, typically around 10,000 square feet, but enough for a home, a garden, maybe even that chicken coop you've been threatening to build. And guess what? The land comes prepped. Utilities at the curb, paved roads, street lights. So why aren't people stampeding to Marquette? Because living here is a lifestyle. You're signing up for true small town reality. Population under 600. Nearest target, about 40 minutes. Nearest serious job market, same. And while the locals are welcoming, they definitely notice a newcomer, especially one driving a Tesla or asking about oat milk lattes. But it's not just about the town's size. It's also about its flavor. Marquette is fiercely local. People still gather at the community center. There's a tractor parade every year, and your neighbor might have very strong opinions about lawn decor, fireworks, and whether chili should have beans. Also, fun fact, there's a guy in town who owns a homemade cannon. Totally legal, totally loud. And yes, he fires it sometimes on weekends. A Redditor shared, "We thought it was thunder. Turns out it was Carl welcoming spring. Is that a red flag or a green one? You decide." Here's the upside. If you're tired of big city noise, tired of debt, and craving a place where you can literally own the dirt you stand on, this is a golden ticket. Free land, low taxes, and a blank canvas life. You just have to build it, literally. Picture this. You're standing on your free plot. Wheat fields sway in the distance. The air smells like clean grass and quiet. Somewhere nearby, a screen door slaps shut and a dog barks once. You see the foundation being poured for your new house. Your house. And for the first time in a long time, it feels like you're not just surviving, you're starting. Just don't be surprised if Carl's cannon becomes your unofficial alarm clock. Brewster County, Texas, 20 acres for $7,000. And not a soul for miles. Welcome to the end of the road, and maybe the start of something wild. This is the largest county in Texas, bigger than some states. But here's what's nuts. It's also one of the least populated. You want space? You get space. Land is so plentiful and so cheap that real estate listings read like they're pranking you. 18.5 acres, $6,900. No restrictions. It's a dream for off-gridders, preppers, and people who think HOA is a dirty word. And the best part? It's real. You're not just getting dry dirt and tumbleweeds, though those are included. You're getting views, sweeping mountain ranges, sunsets that burn like wildfires across the horizon, and skies so clear they look fake. You're near Big Bend National Park. You're in the desert. It's majestic. It's quiet. But man, does it get weird out here. The towns in Brewster County, like Terlingua or Lajitas, aren't really towns. They're more like suggestions. Terlingua is half artist colony, half off-grid outlaw zone. You'll find eccentric desert dwellers, solar-powered homes, and a bar that hosts chili cook-offs and ghost stories. Lajitas has a goat as its unofficial mayor. No, seriously, and yet the challenge is real. You want groceries? Plan a 2-hour drive. Water? Drill a well or truck it in. Power? Solar's your best bet. Don't even think about DoorDash. Cell service? Spotty. GPS? Often confused. And medical care? Don't sprain an ankle because the nearest clinic might be 100 miles away. You're not just buying land. You're buying into a lifestyle of radical independence. But for some, that's exactly the point. One Redditor wrote, "Brewster County is what you get when the frontier never closed. It just got Wi-Fi and disappeared again." Picture this. You stand on your 20 acres. The wind is hot, dry, and full of secrets. There's nothing around you but sky, rocks, and maybe a javelina or two watching from a distance. The silence is thick, real silence, the kind that city folks spend years chasing in meditation apps. And for a second, you realize this land doesn't care about your deadlines, your likes, or your credit score. It's yours, completely. The price? Low. The cost? High if you're not ready for it. But if you are, this isn't just land, it's escape on your terms. Lake Los Angeles, California, a desert oasis with a side of weird. If you've ever dreamed of owning a slice of the California dream, but your budget laughed at the idea, welcome to Lake Los Angeles. Yes, it's a real place. And no, it's not a typo with California land that costs less than most people's rent. You can grab a parcel here for as little as $5,000, under $2,000 per acre in some cases. And if you're tired of overpriced cities and boutique real estate, this is the loophole you've been waiting for. Situated in the high desert about 60 miles northeast of Los Angeles, Lake Los Angeles isn't quite the glamorous, star-studded West Coast vision most people have, but here's what it offers: wide open space, unobstructed views of the San Gabriel Mountains, and a quiet that makes you feel like you're on the set of a Clint Eastwood Western. There's a reason why this area is still dirt cheap. It's a place that has a weird relationship with water, the lake that's supposed to give the area its name. It's mostly not a lake. In fact, it's more of a seasonal pond that occasionally does a good impression of a puddle during heavy rains. But even without water, the area is stunningly beautiful, especially at sunrise and sunset when the desert is painted in colors that look like a dreamscape. But there's a catch, and it's a big one. Desert life isn't for everyone. Living here means no real amenities to speak of. While you can technically say you're in California, don't expect palm trees and poolside margaritas. The nearest big store is about 20 minutes away. It's a lonely drive, and that's before you even consider the heat. During summer months, the temperature often breaks 100 degrees. Then there's the whole issue of socializing, or the lack thereof. This isn't a place for bustling community events or hanging out at a cafe. You're more likely to see a rattlesnake than a neighbor. And while the area offers plenty of land to build on, it also offers very little in terms of services. You want water, you're trucking it in. Internet, good luck with satellite. Power, solar is your best friend, and that's just for the basics. But hey, here's the flip side. For the right person, this is freedom, with lots as low as $2,000 an acre. It's an insane deal for off-grid living, homesteading, or turning your desert dreams into reality. A Redditor summed it up: Lake Los Angeles is like the California dream on a budget, just with more dust and fewer palm trees. Picture this. It's 6 a.m. and you step outside to a breeze that's warmer than you expected. The sun is already hot and you can feel it on your skin, but you're not mad, not at all. You look around and miles of desert and mountains stretching out before you, a sense of solitude wrapping around you like a blanket. The quiet is almost too quiet. For a second you think maybe this is what freedom feels like. But just a second. Camden, Maine. Ocean adjacent, picture perfect, and probably the most deceptively expensive cheap land on this list. Let's be clear, you're not getting 20 acres for $5,000 here. This is Maine, specifically Camden, the jewel of the coast. A postcard town where sailboats dot the harbor. Fall looks like a painting, and the air smells like pine needles and rich people's weekend plans. But here's the loophole. Micro lots. Tiny slices of land, sometimes under 0.1 acre, can be found for under $10,000. Sounds amazing, right? It is, until zoning slaps you in the face. These lots are usually weird shapes, often tucked between two larger properties. And when you look into building, you realize it's like trying to pass a driving test while blindfolded and juggling legal jargon. Camden's zoning code is notoriously strict. Height restrictions, setbacks, sewer connections, and don't even think about a tiny home without attending 3 town hall meetings and sacrificing a goat. So why even bother? Because the location is unmatched. These micro lots put you near some of the most stunning views on the East Coast. Rugged cliffs, serene harbors, snow-dusted pines. If you can navigate the bureaucracy, or just want a slice of land to say, yeah, I own in Camden, it's still a wild deal. Some have used these lots as long-term plays, buy and hold, wait for zoning updates, or just pitch a tent and call it a vibe. Others have used them to install artist studios, minimalist cabins, or off-grid retreats with no plumbing but all the Instagram likes. But again, the red tape here is real. A Redditor put it perfectly. Owning land in Camden is like dating someone way out of your league. Beautiful, confusing, and constantly making you feel like you're doing it wrong. That said, Camden's charm is undeniable. The downtown is cobblestoned and filled with indie bookstores, bakeries that smell like cinnamon and snow, and people who wear flannel. Because they mean it, not because it's trendy. The community is tight-knit, which is great if you want that Cheers vibe, but a little intimidating if you're from out of state and still pronouncing it Camden instead of Camden. Picture this. You own a sliver of land just big enough to park a camper or build the world's coziest shed. You sip hot coffee with a sea breeze brushing your face. Behind you, a dense forest. In front, the Atlantic, glittering like it's flirting with you. You can hear the distant sound of seagulls and someone playing a fiddle at the harbor. It's not about how much land you own here. It's about where it puts you. And sometimes, that's worth every zoning headache in the book. Christmas Valley, Oregon, where $3,000 buys you sand dunes, silence, and just enough weird to make it interesting. Let's get this out of the way. There's no Christmas, no valley, just a name that feels like someone lost a bet. But if you're looking for absurdly cheap land in the Pacific Northwest, this is the wild card. Christmas Valley sits in central Oregon's high desert, about as remote as you can get without falling off the map. Here you can buy quarter-acre to full-acre plots starting at $2,500 to $3,000. Entire subdivisions were planned out decades ago, but never really took off. So now you've got streets with names, but no houses. Like a ghost town blueprint waiting for someone to hit build. It sounds post-apocalyptic, and in a way, it kind of is. But here's the thing, it's beautiful, in a stark Mars colony meets Oregon Trail kind of way. Surrounding the area are lava beds, wide salt flats, and sand dunes that attract ATV riders and thrill seekers from across the state. You'll also find ranchers, off-gridders, and artists who came here to disappear in peace, or at least get really good at solar panel maintenance. There's no real town center to speak of, just a gas station, a general store, a diner, and a golf course that feels like it time traveled in from 1972 and refuses to leave. The downside? Utilities. There's no city water or sewer. Most landowners haul in water or drill wells. Electricity is spotty unless you're close to the main road. Otherwise, solar is the name of the game. And forget fast internet. You'll be lucky to get enough signal to upload a YouTube video about your new off-grid lifestyle. And winters? Rough, windy, bitter cold, but if you survive that, the spring and fall are pure desert magic. A Redditor summed it up. Christmas Valley is for people who want land, freedom, and the right to yell into the wind with nobody around to judge. Still, there's something undeniably alluring about it. You want to build a cabin, a dome, a shipping container, tiny home with goats. Nobody's stopping you. In fact, nobody might even know you're there. Picture this. You're standing on your $3,000 lot. It's dead silent except for the wind and the occasional howl of a distant coyote. The sky above you is massive. A dome of stars you forgot were that bright. Your nearest neighbor is miles away, and the only glow is your own solar lights flickering on. This isn't luxury, it's liberty. Raw, unfiltered, and probably a little dusty. And honestly, that's kind of the point. Luna County, New Mexico, land for $500 an acre. And sunsets that feel like religion. If you've ever dreamed of owning land where the horizon stretches forever and nobody's breathing down your neck, Luna County is calling. Situated in the southwestern corner of New Mexico, near the border with Mexico and Arizona, this place is a minimalist's dream. Wide open land, no restrictions, and a cost so low it feels like it skipped the last 4 decades of inflation. Here's the real headline. For less than the price of a gaming console, you can own a full acre. And we're not talking middle of nowhere with no legal access. These parcels come with dirt roads, legal deeds, and actual property rights. You can build, you can RV, you can go full prepper and dig a bunker. The county basically shrugs and says, you do you. But, and this is a big but, you're on your own out here. The terrain is raw, scrub brush, sand, and the occasional tumbleweed with attitude. There are no utilities unless you bring them. No water lines, no sewer, power lines, maybe. If not, you'll need solar, a generator, or a combination of both. The closest town, Deming, is your lifeline. And even that's a small desert outpost with a Walmart, a few diners, and one seriously good taco truck. So why do people buy here? Because Luna County offers something rare. Peace. Not suburbia peace. Not spa day peace. This is cosmic, almost eerie quiet. The kind where your own footsteps feel loud and the stars at night look three-dimensional. It's a stargazer's paradise, an artist's retreat, a hermit's dream, a place where you can build your weird dome house, paint the sky, or just sit on a rock and listen to the wind explain the universe. But let's talk quirks. The air smells like dust and sage, most days. But after a rare rain, there's a faint smell of sulfur, not dangerous, just weird, like the desert letting you know it's still got secrets. Locals say, You get used to it. You might even miss it when you leave. And the people who do live here? Fiercely independent. Some are retirees, others are off-gridders, nomads, or spiritual types who believe this land is charged with energy. There's a vibe here. Not creepy, but definitely otherworldly. One Redditor nailed it. Luna County is where you go to disappear in plain sight. Cheap land, huge sky, and nothing telling you no. Picture this. You're standing on your acre. The sun is setting in impossible colors. Your trailer door creaks in the wind. In the distance, a dust devil dances across the flatland. You feel tiny and infinite. The silence is absolute, and for once that doesn't feel scary. It feels like freedom. The Ozarks, Arkansas. Where the land is cheap, the laws are loose, and your nearest neighbor might be a conspiracy theorist or a goat. Tucked deep in the rolling, forested hills of northern Arkansas, the Ozarks are an off-grid dream and an urban planner's worst nightmare. Out here, $2,000 to $5,000 an acre gets you rugged beauty, no zoning laws, and the kind of silence you can't find anywhere near a Starbucks. And when I say no zoning, I mean zero oversight. Want to build a yurt, a tiny home, or a treehouse with a hot tub on the roof? Go for it. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's even watching. You could legally move into a converted school bus and raise chickens next to your compost toilet, all without filing a single permit. But that freedom comes with quirks and neighbors. In the Ozarks, you'll find a mix of old school locals, die-hard off-gridders, and homesteading newcomers who learned everything they know from YouTube and Reddit threads. It's a melting pot of folks who either don't trust the system or don't want the system to find them. This makes for some interesting living situations. Think hand-dug wells, homemade wind turbines, and the occasional unlicensed moonshine still. Reddit is full of stories like moved to the Ozarks for cheap land, got invited to a pig roast, ended up in a survivalist meeting, or neighbor has 19 roosters and a "don't tread on me" flag the size of a billboard. Nicest guy I've ever met. But the landscape? Absolutely gorgeous. We're talking thick forests, hidden waterfalls, limestone bluffs, and lakes so clear they look photoshopped. The land is raw, wild, and alive. Deer, turkeys, owls, snakes, and yes, the occasional black bear. All call this place home. It's remote, but it's not barren. There's life everywhere if you're quiet enough to notice it. The real kicker? Low taxes, low cost of living. And did I mention no zoning? But don't expect public utilities. You're hauling water, running off solar, and maybe rigging up a satellite dish just to check your email. You can get internet eventually, but don't count on Netflix 4K streaming in your first week. Picture this. You've cleared a spot in the woods for your off-grid cabin. The smell of pine and wood smoke fills the air. You can hear a creek trickling nearby. No traffic, no sirens, just birdsong, and the faint crow of one too many roosters from your neighbor's yard. You exhale. You're disconnected from the grid, from the noise, from the rules. And it feels amazing. The Ozarks don't care who you are, just that you know how to mind your business, respect the land, and not panic if a possum sneaks into your pantry. Hibberts, Gore, Maine. One person, no roads, no post office, and yes, you can buy land here. Let's start with the facts. Hibberts, Gore isn't a town, it's a gore. A geographic accident from colonial times created when surveyors messed up the math and left behind tiny unincorporated scraps of land. This one? Barely 500 acres, one official resident, 0 services, and somehow it's still legally recognized. And guess what? You can own land in it, often for absurdly low prices. We're talking micro parcels starting under $5,000, and occasionally even larger plots for less than what you'd pay for a used kayak in Portland. But this isn't your typical cheap land pitch, because Hibberts Gore is more myth than municipality. No roads lead directly in. If you want to visit your land, you're hiking, snowshoeing, or off-roading through dense forest, bogs, and possibly 200 years of New England secrets. There's no cell service, no grid, no neighbors, unless you count the deer, moose, and whatever's moving just out of view. Yet somehow, this ghost town that never was has become a legend in the land world. Redditors swap GPS coordinates like they're clues to buried treasure. There are stories of people pitching tents on their plot just to say they've lived there. Some folks dream of building tiny cabins. Others just want to own the most obscure, off-the-map property imaginable. The single official resident, reportedly friendly, quiet, possibly a forest witch. No one knows for sure. And that's kind of the magic. What's the catch? Everything. You'll need off-grid skills, land navigation tools, and a healthy respect for Maine's extremely unforgiving winters. You're not just buying dirt, you're buying into isolation, mystery, and a lifestyle that laughs in the face of convenience. But for some, that's exactly the point. One Redditor wrote, "Owning land in Hibberts Gore is like joining a secret club where the only membership requirement is believing in weird places." Picture this. You're deep in the woods, GPS in hand, heart pounding because you just realized you're standing on your land. The trees part slightly, and there's a mossy clearing with a rock that feels like it was waiting for you. No signs, no fences, just you and nature whispering secrets in a language older than zoning laws. No bills, no neighbors, no rules, just land, real land, and the knowledge that technically you own a chunk of one of America's strangest, loneliest, most legendary places. 1. The Missouri No Man's Land. On paper, this place looks like a glitch in the American system. $300 an acre. No zoning, no building codes, no rules. People don't find this land, they hear about it. A forum post, a whispered comment, a listing that feels like it shouldn't exist. And once you see it, the thought creeps in. Why isn't everyone doing this? The land is quiet, too quiet. Thick woods, gravel roads that fade into dirt, and properties so cheap you start doing the math twice. You imagine disappearing, living off grid, being unbothered, untracked, untold what to do. And for a little while, that fantasy holds. Then you notice something strange. There are no clear fences, no fresh survey markers, just old posts, crooked wire, boundaries that feel more like suggestions than facts. That's when you meet the guy down the hill. He doesn't knock. He just shows up, says he's lived here forever, says the map is wrong, says your driveway crosses his land. He's calm, almost friendly, and then he adds one sentence that changes everything. "I've already moved the line before." Here's the part nobody warns you about. When there are no rules, there's also no one rushing to save you. County offices bounce you around. Sheriffs call it a civil matter. Lawyers ask if you paid for a survey, and if you didn't, they sigh. Meanwhile, trees start disappearing. Trenches appear overnight. A backhoe hums somewhere nearby, like a threat you can hear but not see. This land attracts people who want freedom. It also attracts people who think confidence beats paperwork. Missouri's no man's land is cheap for a reason. You're not just buying dirt, you're buying ambiguity. And out here, ambiguity favors whoever acts first. Because when the rules vanish, the only law left is who's willing to dig.